I have to say, I truly forgot just how much I love fall. We have our first fire in the wood stove going today. I have some delicious recipes planned to share with you, a little bit of organizing, so join me for some fall homemaking. A portion of this video is sponsored by Vital Farms. More on them in a bit. As the daylight gets a little bit shorter each day through this fall and winter season, we find that we get less and less eggs. Now, this year I was pretty good about freezing and freeze drying, water glassing, and having enough hens here on our farm to actually be able to do that. But up until about last year, it was a difficult challenge every single winter for me to find high quality eggs. We rely heavily on eggs as a protein source here in our home. It's inexpensive, it is healthy, filling. More than just for breakfast, eggs are a staple in our diet, and it's important to source them so that you can feel comfortable knowing where your family's food is coming from. A portion of this video is sponsored by Vital Farms. Vital Farms provides high quality pasture raised eggs. Each of their hens enjoy a minimum of 108 square feet of roaming room in fresh open pastures. They had their start as a single family farm, but today they actually work with 300 family farms available across many grocery stores nationwide. Vital Farms is a certified B Corporation with a purpose to improve the lives of the people, animals, and planet through food. Unless you are sourcing your eggs from a small family farm, you probably aren't able to trace them back to where they actually came from. On the side of each carton of Vital Farms eggs, you'll find the farm name of where the eggs were laid. You can type that name in at vitalfarms.com/farm, and you'll be able to get a 360-degree peek at the pasture where those eggs are actually produced. It's a pretty cool way to know that you are getting high quality, delicious eggs and supporting small family farms, which is super important to me. I like to choose organic whenever I'm sourcing eggs, and Vital Farms does offer that option, so I can be sure that they meet all of the standards that I have here in my own kitchen. Today I'm using these delicious eggs to make a sage strata, a beautiful way to highlight what is still available this season. We have sage still in the garden. We have sausage from my sister's farm. It all just really tastes like fall to me. I started this strata with a bit of a twist by making a rustic rye loaf. I added a little bit of caraway, rye flour, and molasses. This recipe is coming very soon to the blog. I will link it in the description box below. To make the strata, I dice it and whisk together 10 eggs, 3 cups of milk, salt, pepper, herbs, about 1.5 cups of cheese. I did pull some lovely sage from the garden. Everything else succumbed to the frost, but the sage is going strong. Again, this full recipe is over on the blog. Just go over to farmhouseonmoon.com and search sourdough strata. Otherwise, I will link it down below if I can remember to do that. Thanks again to Vital Farms for sponsoring that portion of my video. For lunch, We are doing a chili. I have a whole bunch of sweet potatoes sitting in the pantry that need to get eaten, and sausage. As you can tell, I'm feeling a bit high on the hog after getting an entire pig from my sister's farm. So I'm doing a sausage chili, which is just delicious. I didn't have any meat thawed out, so a quick water bath gets me ready for lunch. We add cumin and chili powder, salt to taste, and it is a delicious fall meal. Now, one more thing I have on my list of to-dos today is to do some organizing in the pantry. My pantry gets away from me really quickly. It's an active place. We store milk jars in there, food that we're keeping for the winter time, pots, pans, gadgets, baskets for sourdough baking, and cookie cutters, and all my dried goods. It really gets a lot of use, and therefore it needs some constant attention. So for today's project, I am switching around some jars to make room for some different flours. I'm starting to experiment with spelt and rye, and so I need a place for those to go. I also have out some seasonal cookie cutters that we've been using a lot lately. You might have saw earlier today a couple of my kids making some cookies with them. We've been making pies with them. And I actually got a really great tip the other day on my podcast. I had on Emily Barlow from Handmade Farmhouse. I don't know if this episode is actually out at the time that this video is coming out, but check back to the Simple Farmhouse Life podcast because it will be soon. Anyways, she had a really great idea for seasonal items such as cookie cutters. She takes an apothecary jar and puts them in the jar. This is mostly for Christmas cookies that she was talking about, but I took the idea for some fall cutters that have just been sitting kind of haphazardly in the pantry and put them into a little jar so they could be on display. I don't have an apothecary jar, and they're not the most beautiful cutters in the world, but it does make sense to me that they have a place. They're not just thrown in there all through the fall season. It's enough months that they can have their own little jar, be proudly on display, and part of the decor. I'm really excited to do this exact same thing with the Christmas cookie cutters. I like the idea of maybe adding a ribbon or something to make them part of the decor so that we can reach in and use them often and they're not just in the way. Another thing I want to tackle is this big stack of baskets. I bought these from a thrift shop like a year ago, and I had every intention of hanging them on the pantry wall, and for whatever reason, hanging something is something that we put off for years. I have been using these baskets as I use them for Bannettons. They're just some thrift shop baskets, but they work great for my sourdough bread in the refrigerator, so I want them, but I want them out of the way. So today I'm just going to put some 3M hooks up here and try to get them up that way. I don't know why I didn't do this before. It's like a 5-minute job and it makes everything look clean, gives me the surface back, because as you can see with all the things that we're putting up and with jars, we run out of surface space quickly. I have crock bowls with veggies and oftentimes fruits, and so this space needs to be more clear, and I love the way that the baskets look hanging up. I also want to show you my sourdough pumpkin roll. I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but this is over on the blog. What I like so much about this is it is long fermented. So I got going last night the flour component of this recipe, the starter, maple syrup, and pumpkin. This means that the flour is pre-digested a little bit. So that is the benefit of long fermentation. It's easier for your gut to digest. And so I love it whenever I can make a dessert do that. And then I make up a cream cheese frosting, put it inside the roll, and roll it up. Thanks for joining me for this simple day of fall homemaking. I hope that I gave you some maybe new ideas for recipes to try out this fall. As the dark hours are longer, I definitely find myself experimenting more in the kitchen and really having a great time with that, and maybe give you some organization, motivation, because that is something that we need constantly. In my home, it never stops. I need to put attention to several areas throughout my home. Actually, right now I'm feeling that in a lot of areas, and it gives me something productive to do during these cozy fall days. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.